What is going on, guys, and welcome back to Touchdowns to Home Runs. My name's Bernie. Thank you for joining us today on the Touchdowns to Home Runs post-game show. I hope that your day is going absolutely fantastic. We have a final score from today's matchup between the number 25 Michigan Wolverines and the Oakland Golden Grizzlies. The Wolverines take this one by a score of 81-71. They needed overtime to do it. They came into this game as 31-point favorites. Not a pretty game at all, but they do end up getting the job done. In just a second, we're going to get to the box scores, but first, I want to give sort of my opinion on this game. First of all, Michigan only won this game, in my opinion, because of Hunter Dickinson. And Michigan dominated the overtime, but Dickinson looked like a veteran. Towards that entire end of the second half, and especially in overtime, he put Michigan on his back. And for a team that's full of veterans, with the transfers, with the returning guys from last year, it was a freshman who ended up getting the job for the Wolverines. And Hunter Dickinson is looking like a fantastic player for us in the future. His footwork at such a young age is so fantastic. He's such a good facilitator inside. And he definitely looks mature beyond his years, and I'm really excited to see what, he does not only this season, but also in the future, because he's a very talented big man. In terms of what I saw in the actual game from the rest of the team, offensively, Michigan struggled. Now, I know Oakland runs sort of a weird sort of zone, and they had trouble beating it. But Michigan's ball movement in their first game was fantastic, and we didn't see any of that this game. The passing wasn't there. Ton of turnovers. I think Michigan had 20 turnovers today. 5 of those coming from Wagner, 5 of those coming from Brooks. They were really, really sloppy offensively. They couldn't make the adjustments, and they couldn't figure out that zone defense. And, I think today we really saw, we didn't really see it in game one, but we knew that the absence of Xavier Simpson at some point was probably, going to be a factor. Mike Smith at the point guard position, and even Eli Brooks when he runs the point sometimes. Michigan doesn't have a guy who's a facilitator like Xavier Simpson was. And I know we can't compare those guys to Simpson, because Simpson was one of the best point guards in college basketball. He was one of the best facilitators. But Michigan has trouble, moving the ball around, getting the guys open, having structured sets offensively. And we didn't see that today, and I think that's why the turnovers were high, which is very uncharacteristic for Michigan teams. But thankfully, they were able to figure it out. In terms of defense, they have trouble defending the pick and rolls. I thought, Oakland had a lot of shots that were wide open. They knocked down their threes. They didn't shoot fantastic. They only shot 33%. But I thought Michigan had some defensive collapses, especially I know that there were a few plays with the help defense, especially from Sean D. Brown. I mean, it's only game 2 in the season, but this is a very talented Michigan team that I definitely expected more from. And I think we'll have to see if they can make adjustments going into Ball State. That matchup coming up. Anyways, let's go on to the box score. Livers led the way, 22 points. He played pretty well. He shot 8 for 12 from the field, 5 for 7 from 3. Livers, again, looks like an all-around player. 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 blocks, filled up the stat sheet. He was, him and Dickinson, the reason Michigan was in this game. Michigan overall went with the same starting lineup. Mike Smith, Eli Brooks, Wagner, Davis, Livers. Last game I thought maybe Sean D. Brown should have started, but he was brutal today. And, if we flip over the bench, Sean D. Brown, 2 for 14 from the field, 1 for 10 from 3. He does some stuff well in terms of his hustle plays, the 6 rebounds. But he's inconsistent. And he didn't shoot well today, especially in the second half. Michigan's bench, though, again, looks depthy. Dickinson saved him. He shot 6 for 8 from the field, 19 points. Brandon Johns, 8 points. Williams, 7 points. I don't think we've seen necessarily what their bench is capable of. I think their bench has played well. But I don't think people realize how much depth they have, not only at center, but literally at every single position. And there's nobody that played for the Wolverines today that I don't want to see on the court. And I thought that that's something that wasn't necessarily the case last year. Guys like Castleton last year I didn't like. Michigan doesn't really have that kind of guy this year. I like every single guy. I think every guy, especially on their bench, has a purpose. And I think that Michigan is going to start moving in the right direction, even though they had the scare today. Let's go to some of the team stats. Let's take a look at this. Michigan shot better. They did. They shot 47% compared to the 33% from the Golden Grizzlies. But the fact of the matter came down to Michigan can't hit their free throws. And the turnovers. 20 turnovers. They just can't be having that. And again, I know Xavier Simpson not leading the point for the Wolverines right now. But they got to be able to figure out how to have more quality sets. They're good in transition, but, how is Michigan going to now move around, get open looks for guys on the wings? How are we going to get more open threes for Livers, who's shooting fantastic right now, when we're only playing in the half court? And there's obviously still a lot of time in the season, so I think a lot of time to figure it out, but that's just what I'm seeing personally from the first 2 games. Now, Michigan next week will face Ball State. They're currently 0-1. Again, first few games for the Wolverines this season should be fairly easy games. Obviously, the Oakland game shouldn't have been necessarily a test today, but it was. So, who knows what the Ball State game is going to be like, but Michigan should be pretty heavy favorites. And I think they're definitely going to clean up some stuff. And I think if they do, I think this will be a much different storyline in the next postgame. Before we end this postgame show, though, I just want to, start a conversation in the comment section. I just have a few questions here, you can answer, just think about. And I think Michigan should be thinking about going into the Ball State game. It's, how will the Michigan Wolverines figure out that defense against the pick and rolls? Michigan was very good defensively last year. Xavier Simpson was a good defender. Teskey inside. They have to figure out a way, with Mike Smith and Davis, Mike Smith and Dickinson, they have to figure out a way to guard those pick and rolls. I think, again, the other question that I was sort of touching on before, how will the Michigan Wolverines be able to create more space in the half court? They have a lot of talented shooters. I haven't seen anybody but Dickinson who can facilitate, really. But again, lots of time left in the season. Anyways, guys, if you did make it to this point in the video, thank you. Let me know your thoughts on the game down in the comment section below. Let me know what you guys think of the Michigan team so far this season. Let me know what you thought this game. If you liked today's video, make sure to leave a thumbs up, subscribe to Touchdowns to Home Runs. If you haven't already, make sure to check out our store and our podcast. The links for those will be down in the description below. If you're a Michigan football fan, we actually have a Fire Harbaugh sweater and t-shirt. I definitely suggest checking those out. It's great quality. Just some little fun banter. Obviously, we will all want Harbaugh fired. So definitely make sure you give that all a look. My partner Noah and I have been absolutely grinding out the channel. So again, if you like today's content, please make sure to hit that subscribe button. We do post-game shows for basketball and football. So if that's something you like, make sure to stick around. As always, guys, thank you so much for listening today. And I hope to see you again next time.